Lutece Field did not climbing the bridge world-sit lighthouses collapse at them. Ryan's desk in Rapture, 1946, glows with blueprints for a city that never should have floated. Booker, climbing the lighthouse's spiral, steps into a storm where past and future merge. Sophia Lamb, cradling Persephone, whispers of a heaven built on stolen dimensions. The field contained a universe's death throes. Columbia was not saved, it was entombed. Climbing the bridge, but a Columbia was not lighthouse's shroud spiral saved. It was dying light entombed. Each rift opened, each dimension crossed, siphoned the breath from a collapsing reality. Booker's gunshots didn't free Elizabeth, they sealed the coffin. The field's hum wasn't power, it was a death rattle. Columbia didn't fall, it was swallowed whole, a city-sized anchor dropped into the void. Sophia's whispers were no prophecy, they were an elegy. The Luteces didn't control the field. They begged it to hold. What dies when a universe is buried under spires? The answer lies in the silence after the bombs. Columbia wasn't saved, it was the bomb, the bandage. The final wound. Ryan watched from Rapture's depths. Tenenbaum scribbled equations in blood. Both sought transcendence. Both grasped at chains that only tightened. Columbia's spires were anchors, pinning a rift that bled silence. Every lift a tether, every sermon a prayer to the void. The bombs did not shatter the field, they unplugged it. The field's hum was a hymn, a dirge, a throaty vibration in the bones of the sky. Columbia rose on this sound, cradled by a wound in reality, not a bridge. A scar, a suture between what was and what could not be. The city's spires pierced the clouds, but its roots tore through the fabric of a world already dying. In 1906, the founders called it a miracle, a divine lift, a hand from heaven. They did not hear the field's whisper, I am the breath of a universe expiring. They did not see the way light bent around it, not to carry, but to swallow. The Lutece Field was no invention, it was a grave. A containment for a cosmos collapsing into itself, its gravity not pulling matter, but memory. Every flight, every flag, every psalm sung to the sky was a shroud draped over a void. Rapture's golden age burned in parallel, 1953. The plasmid economy bloomed like a cancer, its ideology pure alchemy, man can be God. Man must be God, Columbia's creed was its inverse, man must be saved, by faith, by fire, both cities were altars, one to ambition, one to atonement. Both built their temples on lies. The field's true catastrophe was silence, no explosion, no scream, just a slow unraveling. As Rapture's genetic miracles curdled into war, Columbia's sky began to weep. Not rain, absence, streets vanished, citizens blinked out. The founders called it the whale's wrath. The truth, the field could not hold, it never could. Every soul who crossed it carried a fragment of the dying world, a plague, a paradox. Booker DeWitt did not rescue Elizabeth, he completed the circuit. Her fingers, once bound by the field, became its fulcrum, when she sang the city's final. When she sang the city's final hymn, the field's threads frayed. Not a bridge, but a shroud. Columbia had been a tomb all along. At Wounded Knee, the Vox fury met the sky's silence. A bullet's spark, a tear in the fabric. What did the Luteces see, threading realities? A universe gasping, its death rattle contained by steel and song. Elizabeth's voice was not liberation, it was the seal's undoing. The field, once a cradle for dying stars, now pulsed with the weight of a world's last breath. Booker's hand closed over her own. A choice, sever the tether or let the void swallow its host. Did he hear the Luteces whisper, you are the fulcrum, not of destiny but of collapse. The field could not hold, to let Columbia fall was to bury a corpse too rotten to save. The air split, the city rose, not to freedom but to oblivion. A paradox, the field's containment required its own erasure. The Luteces, weavers of timelines, did not command this. They witnessed Their equations could not cage what had already bled through. The battle's echoes, gunfire, screams, the wail of a girl who knew too much became the field's requiem. What remains when a world is unwound? Columbia's ashes did not scatter. They unraveled. The Lutece Field, now hollow, folded inward. A black hole not of gravity but of story. Every door they walked through left a scar. Every what if a shiver in the static. Booker drowned, Elizabeth vanished, but the field's grief lingers. A silent catastrophe, sealed in the space between breaths. The Luteces never spoke of Wounded Knee. Some truths are too heavy to carry. Some choices once made erase the need for memory. The sky does not forgive, it forgets. The Lutece Field was never a bridge, it was a wound. Flight was not escape, but a stitch on a bleeding cosmos, a containment field for a dying universe. Each crossing bled reality thinner. Columbia's lift, a dirge, not a triumph. The Lutece's masked collapse, not connected worlds. What if Booker and Elizabeth did not save it, they buried it? A silent catastrophe draped in salvation. The sky forgets, but wounds fester. The Luteces carved a door through dying light, not a bridge, a shroud. Their field didn't bind realities, it strangled them. Every pulse of that lighthouse swallowed a universe's final breath. Booker DeWitt didn't rescue Columbia, he buried it in a grave of stolen skies. Elizabeth didn't shatter chains, she sealed a tomb. The field wasn't containment, it was a requiem. A chorus of dead worlds singing through the wires. Rosalind and Robert visionaries or vultures, they called it salvation, it was a harvest. Each reality they threaded through the lighthouse bled its last resource, existence. The city's lift was a collapse, a civilization folded into a singularity's pocket. Histories erased not by war but by erasure. The Luteces built a bridge, no, they made a void, a wound that couldn't bleed because it had no body, just memory, just debt. Columbia's fall wasn't failure, it was finality, a universe's epitaph etched in fire and faith. The Luteces reached for eternity, they grasped a funeral pyre. Every iteration of the lighthouse repeats the same crime, creation through annihilation. The city was never meant to rise, only to vanish. And in its vanishing it took 1,000 worlds with it, silent, swallowed, forgotten. The rage isn't in the destruction, it's in the lie, a savior's tale draped over a reaper's work. The sky didn't forget, it was unmade. The lighthouse's beam never pierced the sky, it funneled light into a void. Rapture's tethers, Columbia's lifts both were threads in a loom weaving a shroud. The Lutece Field did not bridge realities. It devoured them, a containment field for what? A universe unraveling at its seams. The experiments below the city, the equations scrawled in blood Elizabeth's hands did not tear the sky open. They pressed a palm against a wound already bleeding. The field was not a tool, it was a bandage on a corpse. In 1958, the girl in the water did not die. She dissolved, her death was a key, her blood a trigger. The field's true purpose awakened, to collapse overlapping realities into a single, stable grave. Rapture's saltwater choked on its own decay. Columbia's sky drowned in its own weight. The same force that shattered the lighthouse now unspooled the city above. What if the Luteces were not architects, but prisoners? Their equations not blueprints, but pleas. The field's hum was not progress, it was a dirge. Every leap through dimensions, every war between sky and sea. Booker's fingers closing around Elizabeth's hand did not save a city. They sealed a tomb, the rhythm repeats, lighthouse, man, city. Each a node in a failing circuit. The field's collapse in 1912, the drowning in 1958, the final erasure in 1963, acts of the same burial. The sky did not fall. It was folded into a singularity, quiet as a held breath. Did the field contain the dying universe or become its final monument? The answer lies in the silence between the detonations. Between the splash of a girl's first steps and the echo of her last. The rage is not in the destruction, it is in the scale. A savior's tale draped over a reaper's work. The sky did not forget, it was unmade. The Lutece Field did not sever threads, it swallowed them. In 1960, a boy became Jack, a city became ash. The field's pulse sealed Rapture's fate not to save, but to silence. Columbia's ascent was no escape, it was entombment, a reality-specific void, gnawing at the fabric of what might have been. The Luteces, weavers of time, did not foresee the weight of their own design. Every choice Booker made, every door Elizabeth opened, collapsed into the field's silent maw. What remains is a hollow sky, a scar where infinite worlds once bled, and beneath it a truth no monument can hold. Some bridges lead only to the grave. The field is not a relic, it is a wound, a single universe preserved by erasing the rest. Columbia's spires still whisper in the static of forgotten timelines. But the sky is quiet now. The cost was never the fall, it was the lifting, the erasure, the final, unspoken act of a reality choosing to forget it ever bled. The mirror cracks where the ideologies meet. Rapture drowned in its own objectivity. Columbia burned in its own divinity. Both cities built altars to their godsonly to become the sacrifices. What did the Luteces weave when they strung the field between sky and sea? Not a bridge, a shroud, a collapsing star of intersecting truths. Every lift was a severance. A reality peeling away its own skin to escape the weight of its sins. Booker's blood didn't wash away in the river, it pooled in the field's hollow. Elizabeth didn't open the skysh, found the grave already dug. The field didn't save Columbia, it archived its death, a tomb etched in quantum static. The Luteces are not architects. They are scribes, their equations don't bend space, they transcribe the elegies of dying worlds. Each choice Comstock made, each lie Ryan clung to, each prayer Daisy carved into steel. These were not paths. They were footnotes in a story the field had already finished reading. Grief is the echo of a collapse you cannot see. The people of the sky and sea did not fail. They unraveled, their utopias were not blueprints, they were Rorschach tests. Every mirror between them showed the same truth, that perfection is a wound that never stops bleeding. The field's silence is not absence, it is memory. A black hole humming with the voices of all who built too high, all who believed the lie could outlast the bricks. And in the end, the Luteces watch, they always watch. Their field is not a miracle, it is the final mirror. The mirror cracks where ideologies meet. Rapture drowned in its own objectivity. Columbia burned in its own divinity. Both cities built altars to their godsonly to become the sacrifices. What did the Luteces weave when they strung the field between sky and sea? Not a bridge, a shroud, a collapsing star of intersecting truths. Every lift was a severance. A reality peeling away its own skin to escape the weight of its sins. The field's silence is not absence, it is memory. A black hole humming with the voices of all who built too high, all who believed the lie could outlast the bricks. The Lutece Field was not a bridge, it was a scar, a containment field for a universe unraveling. Every lift was a tether, not a rescue. Columbia did not fall, it was folded into oblivion. The Luteces did not create this, they found it.